deliver Christ to death, which was the greatest sacrifice that was ever committed. But he chose that freely. God knew in advance God's plan. O Felix culpa, as we sing in the evening of the Easter Vigil. O Felix culpa. O Feliz culpa. What a happy fault. Talking about the fall of Adam and Eve. That merited such a Savior. So Jesus chooses these 12 apostles. In the first letter, it says, the first reading, St. Paul says that Jesus is the capstone in the entire edifice that is the church. And the apostles are kind of like the strong beams in this building. And we form a part also. So it's a time for us to evaluate what is an apostle and what is a bishop. St. Ignatius at Antioch, he was one of the bishops of Syria, of Antioch. He says, he who acts behind the back of the bishop, who does something without the bishop's knowledge of it, or in spite of what the bishop wants, is acting for the devil. If I do something without letting the bishop know what I'm doing, because I don't want the bishop to know, I don't want the bishop because I'm afraid that if he finds out, that he'll stop me from doing it. I'm working for the devil. That's what St. Ignatius of Antioch says. He was a martyr. One of the most important fathers of the church, because he talks about the structure of the church. He's the 3rd century. He's the 2nd century. He's about 150, around there. So he's one of the early fathers of the church. He talks about the church structure as Catholic Church, with the structure of bishops, priests, and deacons. The Protestants don't like that, because those are early letters, his letters to the churches, the various churches. He's writing these letters when he's on his way to be martyred. So please do not have undue pity for me and stop my verdugoes, what do you call it? The executors from throwing me to the flames, to the lions, or to the lions where I will be chewed up like grains of wheat, and I will be like a bread that is a holocaust for God. It's an offering, an oblation for God. He says, do not stop them. Let them throw me to the lions. So he writes to the different churches. On his way, he's on a ship going to Rome. And he talks about the structure of the church. And that's one of the things he says. Do not act behind the back of the bishop. This is very important. People will consult you sometimes and they'll say, we're doing this with that. Or we're inviting somebody from far away, somebody to come and talk, and they say that they're a mystic. Things like that, Well, does the bishop know about this? Does the bishop approve this? Is such and such a movement approved by the bishops? Do they know about it? It's very important. An apparition, is such and such an apparition approved? Well, not really, but maybe it will be. No. Then suspend your judgment about it. If it has not received its definitive edict of approval, forget it. Leave it alone. You can't condemn it, because the church has not condemned it, but you can't follow it. You have to say, I'm going to wait. How long are you going to wait? I'm going to wait as long as it takes. Because I am an obedient daughter of the church, like St. Teresa of Avila said. So our attitude toward the bishop is we have to avoid two extremes. Two extremes. Some people idolize the bishops, the priests, and the deacons. They absolutely idolize them. That's one extreme. Then there's the other extreme that we don't want anything to do with the bishops because they might make a mistake. They might stop us. You have heard of some of the scandals in the church where the priest would say, no, the bishops are, they're mistreating me and stuff like that. Uh-huh. You have to be obedient to your bishop and to your superiors. Every priest has to be obedient to his bishop or to his religious superior. If my superior calls me and says, I want you to come home right now, I have to go home.